Hello, Mzansi. It's Saturday afternoon on SABC One, and you know what that means. It's time for Game On, brought to you by Hollywoodbets. I am Susan Mapena, proud to be in the company of first Jerry Kosana, as well as another legend in Shane McGregor. We will have a couple of surprises in a guest for you later on in the show. We'll find out about that later. For now, let's talk about what's been going on out in England. Now, the December period is one that tends to be unpredictable when you talk football, not only, I guess, locally, but in England as well. Beginning of the season, or beginning of the month, I should say, Liverpool in a 9-point gap at the top of the table. Currently, it's 2, but things are interesting in how things are panning out, though. Let's start off with some of the results that have come in. And for one, Liverpool having to come back on a couple of occasions to draw 2-2 against Fulham.
Yeah, obviously, good to be here with you again. Yeah, obviously that game, they had a player sent off early, Robertson, the left back, one of the 5 fit defenders, now made it 4, gets sent off early on. And I think it was just a matter of trying to get something out of the game after that. They did well to come back. I honestly thought Fulham would get the points, but yeah, end of the day, it's a point earned rather than points lost. But, having said that, you can't be having a player sent off. I actually watched the send off. He deserved it, but it was a terrible first touch on his behalf. So tiredness creeping in, these things happen. But end of the day, without a player, well, good point.
Well, let's talk about Chelsea. They're now second in the log standings. They've won their last 5 games on the trot to get within 2 points of Liverpool. We've talked about them on a few occasions, but my oh my, they're not making a statement. And their coach and their players are still saying, no, look, we're not in the championship race.
Yeah, he keeps on saying that. I think he does that on purpose because to keep the pressure off the youngsters, because that's what he's got there, a bunch of youngsters. It wasn't particularly a good game to watch. They were they were very ugly. It was an ugly one, as we call it in football, but a win's a win. 3 points is 3 points. Yeah. They just seem to keep doing it. And, I'm looking every week when they're going to falter, but they just keep on getting those results.
Certainly are. Let's talk about a side that we keep thinking, when are they going to get it right? When are they going to get it right? And it seems not to be happening. That's Manchester City at home to Manchester United. Now listen to this. 8 losses in 11 matches after Sunday's defeat to Manchester United, where United came from behind very late in the game to snatch the 3 points.
Very late in the game, and I can see you got a big smile on your face.
Oh, you smile.
I can see that. But, I thought I'll never ever say this. When is Pep going to be looked at to be the next coach fired? We've got to be looking at that.
You think it's time to start having that conversation?
Well, we've got to be looking at that, He doesn't seem to be able to stem the tide. He can't seem to turn things around. I've seen a few clips going around on social media about him ranting and raving in change rooms. How long can that carry on for, If he keeps on losing, there's going to come a time where the owners are going to say, well, hang on a minute. Is he as good as he thinks he is? Is he as good as we think he is? So, you've got to be looking at that. But I feel sorry for them. They just can't seem to buy one.
Can we use the word crisis when
that
you describe Chelsea, City right now?
Yeah, that's a crisis. Definitely is a crisis. When you get to that point where you're fighting to even be in the top 4, that's a crisis for Man City.
Seriously, something to be worried about for Man City. Another result I haven't touched on yet is Arsenal, of course. They started off the weekend with a 0-0 draw against Everton. Now, Arsenal, whilst they haven't been at their best sometimes in open play, have heard sides from corners, dead ball situations. They had 8 against Everton, still couldn't find their way through.
Yeah, well, if you look at their dead ball situation, they're brilliant at that. Yeah. They've got a guy that does it for them. He's a free kick specialist, and he works on, as you can see, week in, week out, he works on different things. They don't get the results from that. They haven't been scoring goals, and that's a big worry besides set pieces. Yeah. So that's a big worry for me. They got a result, they got a normal draw, but you got to be looking and saying, where are the goals going to come from if it's not a set piece?
Let's talk about the game starting now in England. It helps to Aston Villa up against Manchester City. Yes, Villa aren't quite the side they were last season, having to balance Europe as well as the Premier League, but up against City, still a problem for Guardiola, one would imagine.
Both teams. If you look at Villa, I've always told this to you, is when they play in Europe midweek, the next week they always struggle. That weekend they always struggle. It's another week on now. They're coming up against a Man City team who have to turn it around. I think this game has draw written all over it just because of that both teams are so desperate for the points, desperate not to lose, that a draw is on cards. And I do think that a draw will be a good result for Man City going away at this stage. obviously they want to get the 3 points, but
Yeah.
I can't see it happening the way they're playing at the moment. They've got to turn it around. I think a draw's on the cards.
Crystal Palace have had their problems for the most part this season. They also had that 2-2 scoreline against City not too long ago. They're up against Arsenal. They're at home against Arsenal. Arsenal can't quite predict them of late, but is this a game where they have to now also start putting together a few wins in a row?
Derby game.
Yeah,
Again,
Derby as well.
Once again, we always got to say that Palace are playing hot and cold. You don't know which Palace team's going to pitch up. Arsenal, set pieces. Palace are very good at defending set pieces. They've got the players that can do that. Again, I'm going to go for a draw on this one. I actually think there's going to be a few draws this weekend.
Some good games on Sunday, but I have to start off with Tottenham Hotspur up against Liverpool. That's the one to watch.
Liverpool, as I said before, 4 fit defenders. They're looking tired. Their players are looking tired. I'm not too sure who's going to fill in the left back. I'm not too sure who's going to be playing where. But for me, you look at Spurs team. Again, one of those teams that on their day can beat any team. But are they going to be on their day? And that's a big thing here. You look at Liverpool against Spurs. They got the upper hand over them. I'm going to go with a victory for Liverpool. I had a good look at this. I was going to go with a draw, but I think Liverpool will just get their heads over. Diogo Jota coming back, a few other players coming back. I think they'll just get their nose over the line on this one.
Quickly, Everton, Chelsea. Chelsea, of course, the big surprise package this season.
I'm going to go this week again, a draw.
Draw with this one.
A draw on this one. Everton are desperate.
Yeah.
Chelsea have got to slip up sometimes, so I think the draw.
Well, I'll tell you what, this December certainly kept the hits coming. What's coming out of the football in England, and it's anyone's guess who will start the next year top of the log standings. Never mind inside the top 3 or 4 with the way things have gone, but it's exciting times indeed. We say thank you to Shane, and on the other side of this, we bring in, Jerry Skosana to discuss what's been happening on the local scene.
Wanna bet?
You are on.
Breaking news. Gogo takes a Brian's challenge to a penalty shootout.
Aziz again.
Let's go.
Brian looks confident here. What? He's completely missed it. Here comes Gogo. And what a kick! She's done it! She's done the impossible! Hollywoodbets, Azishege. Let's play.
Welcome back to Game On, as we bring Jerry Skosana onto the set here to discuss everything that's been happening locally. And there's some rather interesting results in recent times as we're going towards the, we're still a long way from the midway point of the season, but let's talk about it. Richards Bay in need of points, in need of something to pick them up, and they got just the right pickup against the Golden Arrows that have just changed coaches. Richards Bay walking away 1-0 winners.
Yes, I think it was like a moral booster for Richards Bay on their own, because they will take it like they've won the KZN Derby, by beating Golden Arrows, especially at the Mpumalanga Stadium in Hammersdale. So I think it was a good result. But if you look at the side of Golden Arrows in terms of the technical team, I saw like a Bilankulu and the Khashwe being in the technical team, but yet we're still waiting to hear what's going to happen, because as you know, Mangoba native from Golden Arrows to Sundowns, now being moved from Sundowns. Let's hope maybe he's going to come back and help Golden Arrows.
Maybe could give
yeah.
them the boost they need to get back to their very best. But aside, that's had a great run in the Carling knockout. Of course, they're the champions, Zimakesi, currently bottom of the log. BPSL face SuperSport United. SuperSport 1-0 winners. Interesting. Good to probably Uile and Uwe for SuperSport. They were struggling to get goals earlier on in the season.
Yes, I can take it as a positive for Kevin Hunt, honestly, because he did try a lot of youngsters, especially when Grobler was like still injured, not back in the team. But since he's back, I mean, they've got 2 back-to-back wins thanks to his goals. But if you look at Makesi, I really don't know. I really don't know what's happening, because when I was like watching the game, I mean, they were playing good football, honestly. But finding the back of the net, it was difficult for them. And if you take back and look at how they played against Orlando Pirates, scoring 3 goals at Orlando Stadium, and then you come back and look at the game like SuperSport, and then they can't even score a single goal when they were playing good football. So for me, I think for Clinton, he still has to go back and try and make sure that defensively, I still reckon they are good, even though they did concede. But going forward, they still need somebody. I'm disappointed with my boy that I like a lot, Wonder Boy.
Yeah?
Wonder Boy. I don't know if he's still there or not, but yes, he's there. He's trying hard.
Njengoba sisho ama-strike ukuthi babe successful, don't they need there to be a lot of creativity? And njengoba usho, going forward, they don't create too much Maklis for their strikers.
No, for me they do. Honestly, if you look at Uchi Rambadare, yes, they are the guys that are knocking on the opposition door, but unfortunately they can't hit the back of the net. I think that's their only problem. If maybe they can get somebody that can start giving them confidence again to say what you did in the Carling Cup to reach the final. This is where you're supposed to be, because if you're out of the PSL, there's no way you're going to defend your Carling Cup. So I think that's something which they really have to go through.
So what's happening in Bulwan City in Limpopo? Bashar Maruma Gallants 1-0. But I say this because last season, Mobile PSL top 8. This season, currently, number 3 on the log behind the Pirates and Mamelodi Sundowns. Ngati quietly.
Oh, really? These are the people that nobody knows most of their players. Even myself, if you want to ask me about a player that is always in my mind, obviously it's Apolis. And the rest, yes, they do come maybe there and there, but the way they play, the commitment of the players, I mean, the camaraderie that they have, I think it's so exciting. You look at the way they attack goals, the way they defend, the way some of the players are shouting at each other. It shows that they want to go somewhere. And these are the signs of good results that they are having. So for me, I would give credit also to Putimo Hafe and his technical team. They are doing a great job. I mean, at one stage, I did coach Putimo Hafe at Petersburg Pillars. Sure. I was his coach. Yeah, well. So it's so exciting for me when I watch him do that, when I know he was a good defender himself. And yeah, at the back, they are more solid.
Say the best for last in some of the results and something to talk about here. ETS Galaxy, they've had their struggles this season, not quite going in the same way they were going last season. But then again, there's Kaizer Chiefs, they've had their problems this season. That game ends with Chiefs able to save it and save a point late in the game by making it 1-1. But we won in the game.
I think for me, ETS Galaxy, for now, let's say the new technical team, the new head coach, maybe they are just steadily coming up, because the way Badalanga Corner now, the little bit of confidence that they had with the previous coach is starting to show. They want to come back. I mean, for Chiefs to get the equalizer, Chiefs were lucky. Chivaviro coming in as a sub and scoring that late equalizer, it was lucky, because if I look at Chiefs, I don't know if they got just promoted now. They're trying to get their feet together with PSL. But honestly speaking, it is so disappointing for a quality team like Chiefs to see them go through what they're going through. Because against TS Galaxy, to me, they've lost. You know.
The big game to look forward to is the final winners of the winners of the Carling Knockout. Of course, Makesi up against the Carling All-Star 11, which has been announced. What caught my attention, you're speaking about Chiefs struggling. Chiefs has got no less than 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 6, 7 players, that are, including some from the GDC, of course, but that have been included in the squad. So fans still showing their love for Kaizer Chiefs, though, and their support, yeah.
Yeah, I think if maybe it was just the coach, Jose, that has been given the mandate to choose the team, I don't think almost 3/4 of that team would be there. Honestly speaking, I don't
Quickly, Maui Makesi, though, do you go into this game seriously, taking it seriously, considering you got your problems with PSL? So how do you go into this game as Makesi?
Well, you don't know who to play against, because some of the players are from the DDC teams, and spectators that normally attend the DDC are the ones that have chosen most of the players. I also see Temenkosi Lodge from Sundowns, not a regular at Sundowns. He's here in the team. Look, it's gonna be how Makesi wanna treat it, but yeah, let's hope that's where they wanna see themselves turning the corner. This game. Hopefully, they would wanna win this game.
Well, let's look forward to a good game and a great weekend in the way of the beautifully South African game. We take a short break, come back, and that special little surprise we've got for you at the last segment of the show is coming up with two special guests. Maybe I should say legends coming through later on. Welcome back to GameON. Now, we promised you a special interview with, legends of the game here in Vilnius, as well as, the legendary commentator and the radio show host for a long time, Joe Wood, out on the far side. The name of the game here, or the campaign from a Hollywoodbets point of view, is Far More for the Fans. Really, break that down for us, please.
Thank you, Sizwe. It's a privilege and honor to be here with the legend. Way back in
the day.
Yeah. Well, but let me say that, Hollywoodbets, in terms of their involvement with football, not only at the highest level, but from the grassroots level, it's something that we've grown to appreciate as football journalists in the country. As the chairperson of South African Football Journalists Association, I'm proud to say this is a company that has been our partner for the past 4 years and helping us to introduce a number of things. And the involvement of Hollywoodbets, it spreads beyond just what we see at the highest level. From the grassroots level, we see the involvement in the township tournaments in the rural areas. And this even goes beyond football. We see it in rugby and other sporting codes, even including in horse racing. But I think for me, what is really important is to see the impact that these tournaments are having. Especially if you look at the Hollywoodbets Super League, and I mean, if you talk about the progress of Banyana Banyana, there is no way that you can leave behind the progress of Hollywoodbets Super League.
Yeah. Now, but so when you talk football from your point of view, we're talking back to maybe late 70s, 80s, and so on. The changes you've seen between then and now, especially with Hollywoodbets involving themselves, how are they affecting football positively?
Sizwe, what Hollywoodbets has done is second to none. No one come close to what they're doing. Because bekulokhu kuyinkinga. Lokunjani ebholeni ukuthi bengenayo imali from especially the grassroots level. I think that is another thing that has helped the progress here to back, especially during the time when we were banned by FIFA. There was no money during that time. You look at the former players who played at that time because there was no money. But today, the younger players are very lucky with initiative Hollywoodbets, where they are supporting football from a grassroots level, even Kasi games. You look at the whole of December, Hollywoodbets will be there. So what they've done is very positive for football, and football will never be the same after what Hollywoodbets is doing.
So they won't be going forward, though. In this initiative, tell us more about that. What you'll be looking to do, please.
Yeah, so our work, or maybe not to say our work, in terms of partnership here too. Sobana and Hollywoodbets, because to Sonkele that we want to achieve here is to also amplify and showcase to the people what is really happening on the ground. Because sometimes you find that even us as journalists, our focus is just too much at the highest level. I mean, I've been following the work that Hollywoodbets has been doing. If you look in tournaments like Kaba Cup that is played in Durban, you find almost all the top professional teams there, the scouts, and they are there, and there are just a number of tournaments that they are involved in. So this is the work that we'll be doing. For instance, one of the things that I'm really looking forward to, Sizwe, is the next Nedbank Cup. There's a team I want to watch there from Umtata called Mighty Stars.
Sure.
This is a team that a few months ago he was campaigning in the Hollywoodbets regional league. SAB regional league. So this is a team that has only been there for less than 6 months, but already it's beaten teams that have been at the highest level. So it means that they were well prepared from down there. So there are just a number of things that we will be doing in terms of amplifying this work. But you know,
So then look out for the Hollywoodbets football season content creators. Of course, this is just 2 of them. There's still a few more of them, including Mapensele, to believe. Bali Skiti as well.
Bali Skiti. So from our X, our Facebook, our TikTok, our Insta.
Sure.
Hollywoodbets originals.
It's okay. So thank you very much, gentlemen, for breaking that down for us. And I'm sure we'll be speaking to you again plenty of times in the near future. Thank you again to Hollywoodbets for giving back to the beautifully South African game. Welcome back to GameON as we continue the show here. We've asked Vinny to stay on, of course. We know he's a seasoned journalist and has all of the, insight when it comes to football and what's happening behind the scenes as far as the PSL. Vinny, firstly, let's talk about it. Kaizer Chiefs, they were the big talking point at the start of the season. New coach, few new players. It looked exciting. The fans were coming back to the stadium. A few months in, we're now in December. Let's talk about the reality of the situation at Chiefs.
Yeah, in fact, in one of as part of the content creation for the fans, I'm focusing more on the statement that Nabi made this past weekend, where he's saying the best Christmas present is looking forward to, and also for the fans, is to get quality players. And I think this one is very tough because now, firstly, they are going to the January transfer window.
It's interesting to say it now, yeah.
You're not guaranteed to get the best talent that you're going to get. So meaning that 90% or 95% of the squad that is still is going to have until end of the season is the team he's got. So him going out publicly like this.
Is he putting pressure on Chiefs, on the management, maybe too?
Putting pressure on the management, but also what is the message saying to the current players, you know, in the dressing room? Will those players have his back throughout? Not to say that he's wrong by saying it. Are there no other ways of saying it? You know, but I think also it's born out of frustration, maybe on the potential deals that they are working towards and that they're not getting. When you see that Orlando Pirates is already linked at concluding deals with Apolis and Matuluti.
Now, have to move on. Mamelodi Sundowns, towards the end of last season, were looking unbelievably good. A few months into this new season, and you can't believe how much turmoil there's been behind the scenes and the coaching changes. Your thoughts on Sundowns and whether it's Sundowns allowing other teams to catch up with as many changes as they're having in such a short space of time in the coaching department?
I think there's a saying that if ain't broken, why fix it? Yeah. So it goes back to the decision that was made, and a very unpopular decision of releasing Rulani. And I think that decision is coming back to bite them now. And I'm basing this on the fact that when you look, the issue that I have is that Sundowns never properly introduced Coach Mangoba as the head coach. You know, and now you just look at how they've gone about coming with these changes. And make no mistake, Coach Miguel Cardoso is a very good coach, well-traveled, coach in the Champions League, in the Europa League. I mean, in less than 6 months in Africa, he was a silver medalist in the CAF Champions League. But I think, so these have been the challenges. So now they're trying to pick up. And or maybe it's also a kind of a different focus or a different direction that the club wants to take, because Sundowns has gone Eurocentric for the first time in 12 years, since the time they had Pitso Mosimane. So, and you recall that the last time they had European coaches, there were 0 trophies.
Yeah. Well, this is an interesting change, of course, out of Sundowns. And, the local coaches, one could say, over the last 12 years, as Vinny does point out, has taken them right to the top of the African continent and also locally as well. So we'd like to thank you at home for taking the time to join us, along with William Nyandi, I beg your pardon, not forgetting Joe Huda, Shane McGregor, as well as Jerry Skosana, from myself, Susan Mapena, and the rest of the team that is behind the scenes. We sign out the best way possible. Click, click. Bang.